Alright, I've had enough. I need to rant about this, because this topic irrationally splits my tits and slits my wrists every single time I see it. Tell me, fellow My Little Pony fan, has this ever happened to you? You see something in MLP that doesn't make any sense, or is weird from a writing or in-universe perspective, or feel as if there's an entire piece of the story just missing. You criticize it or make fun of it, or just simply point it out. Or you're a chill, normal-ass guy who doesn't care. But that's besides the point. You see this, and then the fucking lore master MatPat of MLP walks in and goes, oh no, you see, this actually does make perfect sense in the story, and it's not actually a problem. Because in random comic issue 6967, this singular page explains everything, actually. Plus, in random obscure book 42061, this page explains even further why this can logically happen in the story. And then you're in between 3 response options. Option 1, oh. Okay then, and keep watching. Option 2, in an IDW comic, why wasn't this explained in the show that I am watching? What? Option 3, nigga, there's an obscure book! Yeah, okay. MLP Canon, because that surely hasn't caused absolute hair-pulling discourse to everyone that gets involved in that nightmare. It's almost as bad as discourse about MLP writing, or headcanons, or the brony fandom, or shipping, or diversity, or... Oh man, I've been on this shit for too long. The topic of canon is one of those things in MLP where it's like, I understand the appeal of it, hell I respect the fun in discussing and theorizing about it, but I think people put too much weight into it. Weight that I don't think even Friendship is Magic, the show, was caring about having for like most of its life. Like, I'm all about theorizing the possible events that would have happened in the show off screen, but in comic or book format, or using comics to explain events in the show that don't entirely make sense on their own. It's fun, it's entertaining, but those are just that. Theories. Sometimes done to explain away shit that plain should have been in the show. Like, bro, the princesses being absolutely nutty in the comics ain't gonna erase the fact that Lil Timmy saw him get hoed in the live animated show countless times. You know, the one they're gonna be watching first and will likely know about first. The Pillars of Harmony getting a shitload of material to the point of downright totally different characterizations in the comics won't change the fact that they are absolute jobbers in the show, and that Shadowplay is top-tier sleeping medication. Luna being an absolute chaotic menace in the comics won't change that she's just Virgil with an accessible suicide hotline. King Summer being fucking reformed in the comics doesn't change that in the season opener, he's still with Jesse Pinkman making crystal meth to satiate his addiction and throwing hands with the power marketers. And someone criticizing these things or making fun of it isn't all of a sudden completely invalidated because random comic hashtag sextuple69 said something else entirely. Celestia confirming in a comic that she lost to Chrysalis on purpose to quote-unquote test Twilight won't change the fact that in this show, this fact was never implied or stated until season 9 when they decided, okay, let's actually try further to connect these things. Way late down the line, by the way. T-Rex's father from the comics didn't even get brought up until the sudden mention in the finale. Who the fuck is this nigga? It's not even to say that these facts that come from the comics are wrong per se. Just that some of these are things that should have actually been in the show. It's the first thing we all see, and for many, the only thing they get to see. It shouldn't be anyone's job to become a fucking lore whiz master to read a bunch of fucking books to answer what should have been in the main course that we all remember the most. Read, nigga! Read! No, nigga! I ain't reading! And that's not even getting into how the show's own in-universe continuity is fucking weird sometimes. And if you've been around MLP discourse long enough, you probably know what I'm talking about already. We got the itsy-bitsy small moments, like 28 pranks later has Rainbow Dash forget that she wouldn't prank Fluttershy because she's mad sensitive. Thanks, asshole. Twilight has an entire phobia of ladybugs despite her reacting pretty fucking calmly to one in It Ain't Easy Being Brizzies. And you know, her whole handshake with Cadence. Or the fairly big ones, such as Scootaloo somehow does not remember Lightning does during the washouts even though she is directly mentioned her in a past episode. School Rays completely forgetting that Pegasi literally should not be able to fly without magic. School Rays also forgetting that the sun and moon literally cannot even move without magic, so Cozy's plan logically can't even work. The rules of time travel in this universe changing with It's About Time operating under fixed timeline theory where you cannot change anything, no matter what. The outcome will remain, but the QD remark operates under volatile single timeline theory, for lack of a better term, where if you change one thing, you change everything. The entirety of Fame and Misfortune, where the people who laugh at everything Pinky says and goes, she's funnier in real life, are the same niggas who Pinky says, and I quote, have known her for years. It's all just so damn silly. And get this, it gets even funnier. Remember this line from the season 4 opener?
The Summer Sun celebration is only 2 days away. It's just that the Summer Sun celebration is what first brought us all together.
Because the Summer Sun celebration is an annual event, this means that the first 3 seasons took place likely in a single year. Remember that? Yeah? Well, too bad, boy, because that shit can't be possible. If you watch the show in episode release order.
What?
Yes, I'm deadass. Get this. This singular detail does not make sense if you watch the intended episode order. Why? Because throughout the seasons up to that point has some absolutely bonkers weather cycles, or odd holiday placements, like how in Season 2 there's an upcoming Grand Galloping Gala going on, even though Season 1 ended with them already having attended one. First time in Canon 2, no less. How can any of that work if these 3 seasons all take place in a year? Well, shuffle a couple of episodes around and do a couple of dances and Sonic Frontiers puzzles, and now it starts to make sense. Except it still doesn't, actually, because Twi's letters from the Season 2 premiere are counted 65 to 70 letters. And according to Twilight and Lesson Zero, she needs to have 1 letter per week. So that means it's actually roughly 2.5 years? My brain is fucking melting! Like, y'all see how weird this is, right? Unless you're a massive theorist doing this for the love of the game, why would you ever do any of this? Brother, I'm watching My Little Pony, not solid 5 Nights at a Horror. But this ain't even all that relevant when it comes to it all, bro. This is all just the main show, and if you take continuity or canon relatively seriously, it's mad weird, but it can be passed. You know what can't be given a pass in this discourse? External media's canon inconsistencies. Like, it's already dumb enough that some of us be arguing about canon in regards to external media having whole details that the main show doesn't include. But in my opinion, it's even sillier when the media in question contradicts the main course. I could be here forever talking about inconsistencies, but I'll stick to what I consider the personally big ones because I don't got all day. Nightmare Rarity. Goated on. Can't happen. He can fit well in most of the story until this blue fuck nigga Trixie shows up fighting for Ponyville and confirming that she's reformed by this time. So this likely would take place after Magic Duel but before Luna Eclipse? Episode to season apart? Okay, maybe? Until you learn this comic is how Luna got her Season 2 design, which wouldn't make sense because everyone in Luna Eclipse reacts like this is the first time anyone has seen Luna since the pilot episodes. Do y'all not remember the big fight y'all had a week ago? Storm of Zephyr Heights. This one is crazy. It can happen pretty normally most of the way through until Zip discovers Rainbow Dash's lost message where she grieves about losing flight once Twilight seals magic away forever. That can't happen because G5 issue number 2 shows that the Unity Crystals were not made to take magic away and that magic did in fact remain after she used them. This was also shown in Make Your Mark chapter 6 where Spike explains the story of how Opaline got sealed. So Dash was whining and causing a stir in this fandom for like 2 weeks for basically nothing. Thank you Rainbow Dash for being this fandom's favorite discourse instigator. The rise of Cadence. Cadence's origin story? More like Cadence retcon story, nigga, because it decided to add this very cute ending where it shows how Cadence and Twilight first met after a big fight in Canterlot. But that can't be right. Nay, anything shows that their first meeting was while Cadence was offering her babysitting services. They met in Twilight's house, not in Twilight's school. Siege of the Crystal Empire. I haven't read this one. But we already know the major inconsistency between this and the show. This nigga bipolar as fuck, bro. Stop huffing meth and take a side. The official Journal of the Two Sisters book. 2 issues. Celestia mentions how she, Luna, and washed Unk Star Swirl found the Tree of Harmony in the Everfree Forest, which doesn't work because the tree was created when he and the Pillars were trapped in limbo. And mentions how Celestia and Luna were in fact naturally born alicorns, not transformed, which doesn't make any sense because
the birth of an alicorn is something Equestria has never seen.
It is beyond even our understanding.
And hold up. Before you comment, yes, I know Amy Keating Rogers confirmed at a con about the existence of an alicorn land and clarified this dialogue in a con that they are in fact still naturally born. And I believe that is true. However, A, the dialogue itself when you watch the episode and the only context of alicorn birth was 3 seasons ago heavily implies that this is the first time anyone has seen an alicorn not born through ascension. B, this clarification was given at a convention and a book. Full stop. What do you mean I have to go to a convention to get answers about something that the show should have said outright? I'm a broke-ass nigga, you expect me to get there? Ain't nobody gonna know about this! Gameloft's mini-stories. Yes, I know, some of y'all are rolling your eyes at the prospect of someone even considering this game as canon. Trust me, dog, this is part of the discourse. There's a mini-story in Gameloft where Starlight goes to the alternate timeline she created and tries to help as many people there as she can. That's my goat right there. Go off, Quinn, she always winning. This, again, changes how time travel works in this universe because now it means we're working in Dragon Ball Super logic and that it is entirely multiverse theory. Which means all those timelines we saw do still exist. Which, you know, doesn't fucking work because Acuity Remark's entire conflict revolves around the one singular timeline being volatile and changing, making the episode feel low-key weird in retrospect. Do y'all see how stupid this shit gets? Is this Mike miking? I feel like I've been sentenced to an eternity of fucking strokes! And more importantly, what the fuck do moons Mean! Real shit. Y'all wanna know what was the low-key ultimate tipping point of this discourse for me that just makes me irrationally mold and want to pull my hair out? It's whenever people argue about G5 breaking G4 lore. Yes, I am pushing that big red button today. Like, G5 got some weird-ass issues with its canon launch into G4. There's no denying that. But why are we treating G5 with the same, if not worse amount of criticism for its canon consistency when G4 got that shit mastered for years? They're a top-level player when it comes to this. And the funniest part is the shit I heard people complain about sometimes are things that don't even break shit. It just picked and chose from shit that was already jumbled up and dumb as shit anyway. Celestia and Luna being naturally born Alicorns that came from Skyrose? That didn't break anything. They just picked a detail from the earlier mentioned Book of the Two Sisters. Sunny's Alicornhood being an on and off switch? It doesn't break anything. It's an evolution of a species that lasted centuries. Unicorns casting weather magic breaking a central rule to how species magic work? That doesn't break anything. Trixie made a literal thundercloud in season 1, and Rarity with RD's Q-Mark was working with the weather, on top of other books introducing the concepts of non-Pegasi doing weather. Dragonlance being different? No, the Daring Do books literally mentioned the Isle of Scales way before G5. It used what was already there. And it's not fiction either. Daring Do was a real person in universe. Any semblance of magic systems not working exactly the same as G4? Brother, that ain't breaking nothing. Is the in-universe explanation of magic literally evolving, especially due to a generation of absence? You can use that same exact explanation for any new thing that comes along in G5 when we're talking purely lore. It's been 1,000 years. Anything could have happened at this point, dog. Magic is weird. It's mad crazy to me that this many people will jump at G5 for breaking G4's rules as if G4 ain't do the same shit sometimes. I don't get it, bro. Let me out! Officer, please come quick. An MLP Canon debater is at my house! But nah, drop in the haha funny rant mode for a minute. Let me be real with y'all. Everything I'm bringing up isn't to say whether or not they actually are canon or not. Personally, I genuinely do not care if any of these things are canon or break canon or whatever shit like that.
We do not care.
It's to bring up the fact that caring this much about canon consistency is just weird to me because, well, most of the time, deadass, this shit don't make sense. And when you're watching MLP at all, like a casual viewer, it's especially not going to make sense, or hell, even matter at all to you. And personally, I'm not going to care about canon consistency when this is the same show that used merely 3 episodes as a cheat sheet guideline to how their characters are written. Much less when the writers all gather together for one season to brainstorm ideas and then never see each other again. How can any media with consistent continuity or canon be made from that? More importantly, what reason is there to argue about that? Discuss? Yes. Argue? I don't get. It never made sense to me because MLP, at least Friendship is Magic anyway, was genuinely not meant to last as long as it did. Remember, this show started on a 3-season, 65-episode contract with Magical Mystery Cure meant to be the series finale. The green light of the 4th season was so sudden that M.A. Larson's quote-unquote Pandora's Box concept didn't even get put in until the season 4 premiere. The first 3 seasons were so small in scale that, likely speaking, properly fit in canon or continuity was likely not the priority. And hell, even when the show continued, it arguably still wasn't the main priority. It was secondary. In many of these comics, books, and shows episodes, to me at least, it's likely that their first priority was genuinely to tell individual stories that were meant to hit you hard or send a message, not whether or not it connected well to previously established lore or continuity. And they'll pick and choose what detail from the wider MLP canon in service to its story. They're all extras to add to the main course, not essential to carry the main course. And look, I'm not here to tell you whether or not G5 as a whole is good or enjoyable or even well written. That's your taste, dog. It ain't none of my business. I'm just here mad confused as to why are a lot of us treating G5 with such ire and vitriol over a problem that it never created. A problem that's been a part of this series since Friendship is Magic, and we've argued to death about for what, a decade now? MLP has had a fucking canon and continuity way before G5 came in. That's why I'm confused. Criticize G5 for how it handles its own story or how it behaves as a sequel? Yeah. Criticizing for how it handles MLP canon? Dog, we're making this harder than it has to be. Chill, bro. It's not that crazy. It's not G5's fault that it had this dog water hand of expectations to deal with while its parent company treated it like it's a disappointment to the family. Which is an entire other corporate mindfuck that I am not getting into today. And honest to God, despite all this, I think ultimately all the blame goes to G4 for all of this nonsense. After all, the show the whole time was ultimately an episodic slice of life series that you could just watch at any time and miss nothing. But the more it lasted, the more it wanted to expand upon itself with its more in log form continuity, no matter the fact that it wasn't built to have this sort of thing. Naturally, it caused a lot of cracks, confusion, and random niggas popping in with fingers pushing glasses ready to say, actually, your take is wrong because this obscure book said... Like, this whole thing is mad silly, but like, I don't entirely blame it on folks. The show tried to give into that shit sometimes too, and it's cool for it, but it's also a goddamn headache. But maybe one day I'll talk about how G-Force owns storytelling in the long term is its biggest problem. Lord knows how many strong opinions I have on that. Have fun theorizing. It's fun as hell, and I respect it high-key. And if you think any of this stuff is canon or not, fire. But let's set our expectations realistically a little bit, aight? Cause bruh, the smog from this forest fire is making me drive like a Twitch streamer. Make it stop. I want to just get my fucking groceries, dog. How do I end this video, bruh? Subscribe and harass me on socials and donate so I don't go broke, or if you want, I guess, oh, fun fact. Did you know that ponies may have really long lifespans? Not just alicorns, normal ponies. All thanks to Granny Smith's Uncle Ruckus ass living long enough to be around during the founding of Ponyville? Yeah, I know. Crazy, dude. We're going to Master Wu level retcons, baby. Does that add more confusion to the main six's ages? Probably. Does that make the time span of the last problem even more curious? Certainly. Does this detail ever get mentioned or hinted at again? Probably not. Will this stop some people from calling the main six underage? Fucking better. Will this stop anyone from calling them young folks in their 20s? Definitely not. But me? That means I know I have the legal right to call Rarity an unk. And boy, does she not got it.